the next thing we're going to do is actually to learn how to install Python, because you know that Django is actually a Python framework. So you need to learn how to install Python. So the first thing I'm going to do, make sure you're connected to the internet. As you can see on my own, I'm connected to that of the internet. So the second thing I'm going to do is actually to create a new incognito tab. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say Python what download, just simple as that. Then hit on this first. This is python.org. Click on this, download Python. So when you come to this website, you can start to download the latest, which is Python 3.13.7, any one of your choice. In a situation whereby you feel that you are not really interested in downloading the latest one, how to download is basically simple. Just to click on download, just simple as that. That's going to prompt you to download Python 3.13, which in my case I already have Python 3.10 already. When you're done downloading it, if you're interested in getting for older version or any one of your choice, let's say in Windows, click on this Windows. It's going to prompt you with a release version of Windows. So let's say you're interested, you can see these are the release versions, the other older versions. Let's say I'm using Python 3.10.9, which is you can scroll down the whole lot of versions here. Where is that 3.10? But let's say any one of you, let's say you want to download this Python 3.11. Make sure that you know that what your Windows operating system is actually operating on. Is it on 64-bit or on that of the 32-bit? My situation was this on 64-bit. In most scenario, this on the 64-bit. So I have to do is just to click on it. It's just simple as that, and wait for it to go to prompt you to download it. Simple as that. So when you are done with that, you need to actually have what is called an IDE, where you are going to actually write your code here. Might have heard about that, or the PyCharm, VS Code, Node++, and a whole lot of them. So to download VS Code is basically the same. Just click on, just let me open a new data, just say VS Code, download, simple as that. Click on the first website, first link that appears. Okay. And then when you come here, you can decide to end which operating system are you using, Mac, RPM, blah blah blah. I'm using Windows, my situation. I click on this user installer. You can click on this system installer, zip. So click on any of your choice. So I click on this. Make sure what you are clicking most times has to be. So you can see I get this user setup. In my scenario, when I downloaded this user setup, it didn't go successfully for me. So what actually worked out for me for my system was actually send down the second one, which was this installer. I downloaded the installer. I think that was this. I think this was actually the one that actually worked out for me, the VS Code setup. So just click on save, and then get downloaded. My scenario already have these two guys, which is this Python 3.10.9, and for that of VS Code, I don't know why it's not showing here. Since you already have them, what you need to do is the way you install your normal apps on for that of, let's say for example, we want to install this Python, basically simple. Let me go to the folder. What I should do is just to double click on it. This is the VS Code, double click on it. To already have all these guys installed already. So, but you can see, you already have them installed. But your station, you're going to this kind of other test here. You can see, make sure to add that of the add part. It's going to appear somewhere around the add Python to part. That's just it. Click on next. Click on that customization. Click on next and install. Like how you install your mobile app. There's not really much thing to actually do the for that of VS Code. Cancel, yes. That of VS Code basically the same thing. Double click on this VS Code for it to actually install the VS Code. Already have VS Code installed already, so I don't see the need for me to actually install it again. But just basically simple the way you install your mobile apps. Okay, set up the VS Code currently running, blah blah blah. So to install all these guys are just there a whole lot of videos out there too on how to install VS Code and how to install Python. So I don't think I have to make a separate video. I already have a video on how to do these guys. So if you're really interested, the link will also be in down in the description in case you want to learn how to install Python, how to install VS Code completely. But there are a whole lot of videos out there, so you can just check any one of them. So once you are done installing the VS Code and installing Python and merging both of them, we are going to, before we can start writing anything, we need to actually have Django actually installed. When you are done, when you are installing that on the Python, and pip is going to be also be added with it. So we are going to make use of pip. Pip is just like a tool we can use to actually get other external packages, to download external packages. The packages that don't really come with Python. There's a lot of frameworks or libraries that Python tend to provide for us, but with the help of people, we can actually get those guys that are not actually with Python defaultly. So foremost, you need to actually have Django for it to actually make use of Django. Remember that Django is a framework in Python. What it actually does is just to write your backend script for you. So first of all, you need to actually have Django installed. And to do this, since when you're installing Python, you actually enable that of pip. You can make use of pip to do it. But before that, you need to actually go to that of your command prompt by typing that of the cmd. So hit enter. When it comes to this of your command prompt, the first thing you are going to type is actually pip what install our that of the what Django. So what's actually happening here, I'm going to make use of pip will help us to actually install external package. And which external package are we going to install, which is actually this of the Django. In my case, already have Django installed. But in your case, if this is your first time running this, make sure you are connected to that of the internet, because in my case I'm not connected. Since you already have the same, just hit enter here. This should okay. Let's just hold on. You can see requirement already satisfied. Remember that this I'm getting this because I already have I've installed Django earlier before I can before I started this tutorial. So I already have Django installed. So in your situation, if you don't have it, it's going to install some other things. And we also have some other libraries we are going to make use of this of our tutorial, that of the cryptic form and that of the bootstrap, and also for that of the pillow. So to install that of the cryptic form, we're going to say what we're going to make use of our pip what install. We're going to say our Django, because that's the Django form. We're going to say cryptic. Hope that's correct. Okay, that's supposed to be our cryptic hyphen forms. Simple as that. Pip install Django cryptic form, just simple as that. The main function of this cryptic form is basically simple, just to beautify our Django. For it doesn't really do much. You can see my situation, we already have it installed. Your station, if you don't have it, is going to just download it, going to install some bunch of things. It's not really much. And then we're also going to make use of that of the bootstrap. This is what we're going to make use of bootstrap is just to bootstrap will also help us to beautify our website itself in general, that what the css actually does. The bootstrap also tend to make it a little bit more modern, more neat. So we're going to make use of bootstrap 4. They also bootstrap 5, but your situation depends on your choice. This script that I wrote is actually bootstrap 4. I used to actually achieve this. Can make use of bootstrap 5. That's also depend on your situation. And to do this, we're going to make use of that of the people who actually started on our when we're installing Python. Make sure you added it when you are installing Python. Without it, you can't able to make use of pip. So I'm going to see our pip install. This is our cryptic. Hope that's correct. Cryptic what bootstrap. Bootstrap what level of what part of bootstrap are you going to use, or what level of bootstrap are you going to use? Is it going to be bootstrap 4, bootstrap 5, bootstrap 2? It's based on your choice, but I'm going to make use of bootstrap 4 because this script I wrote it with that of bootstrap 4. So I'm going to hit enter. My station already have it, but let's just get that of the show that the requirement already satisfied. In your case, I'm going to download some content that are going to be work with this of the bootstrap. So the last thing we are going to need is actually that of the pillow. What is actually pillow? Pillow is actually a library we can use for image processing, because when we go to that of the website, we can see that each user has a particular image. You see, with the help of this actually trying to tell us that we need to actually pre-process our image before we can render it on the template or on the screen for somebody to see. So we're going to make use of pillow. It's not a must make use of pillow, but I think pillow tend to make things a little bit easier to understand and easier to use. So I'm going to say what people what install pillow. Just simple as that, and hit enter. In my case, already have pillow also installed. So your case is going to download some things account, you can see requirements already satisfied. So with these 4 libraries we actually made use of, we know that it's not actually for 2, it's actually part of the Django, and that's all that of the encryption. So next one to do is actually still sure you are done downloading that of the Django. You want to actually check the version of Django that you are having. To do this is basically simple. What you are going to say is actually to type Python -m Django what version. Simple as that. To know the version of Django you are using. Oh, what did I do? It's supposed to be a space here. Okay. Then you can see this is Django 5.2.5. Let's go up to see whether that actually corresponded to what we have here. That was that 5.2.5 installation, whereby you don't really know it. You also want to check it out. And also, there are a whole lot of Django command that I want us to see, just have a glimpse of at this beginning, because we're going to make use of a whole lot of them. So the actual gets a whole lot of command that Django tend to provide for us. You can see our Django what admin. This is going to list us, print us with a whole list of Django commands. Let me expand this a little bit. Let me go up. So this is a whole lot of Django subcommands. So this, you can see this available subcommand. We're going to make use of a whole lot of them, like this of the make messages, make migration, migrate, run server. This is going to be the first guy we're going to make use of. Show migrations, SQL flush, SQL migrate. I'm going to use start project. These 2 guys comes first, and then we're going to make use of the run server and a whole lot of other. We're not going to look at most of all of them, because most of them doesn't really do much things, but we're going to make use of the important ones to actually achieve what we want to actually get. So with that aside, the next thing we want to do is actually to create our project. So we're going to start our project, and then after that we're going to actually run our Django app to our Django manage. We're going to do some more. We create our project. We're going to do some files which I'm going to explain. After I'm done explaining it, we're going to run our server to actually get our server running, and from there we're going to kick off things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my VS Code to actually explain something. Before I open my VS Code to explain some things, we need to actually have our Django project on up and running, because there are basically 2 things we need to actually do, which is the first to actually create our project, and after we're done creating our project, to actually to create our app. So I want the our Django, I can say our web server, to actually, the folder is here to be on my desktop. So I'm coming to create our maybe folder. I can call it our web dev, which is our web development. So I'm going to go into this our web development. So there are basically 2 things. I can come here to type our cmd, because most of the commands we are going to run is going to be a kind of a CLI, which is command line interface command, which are basically going to run, and it's going to be on our command prompt. So there are basically many ways to actually do this. First thing, I'm going to cd into this of this folder that is here. Since it's in our desktop, I can directly cd into here, but doing in this case can be a little bit stressful for somebody that is still new to CLI. So I'm just going to make it a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to type our cmd, which is actually as if I'm trying to run our, should I say, our command line commands inside that of the folder. So inside of this folder that we're currently on, what we're going to do is just make use of that of the Django admin to actually start our project, because we're going to make use of one of the Django command, which is this start project. Yes. So what we're going to say, I'm going to say our what Django -war admin. I'm going to do was start. So that's correct. Start project. So in case if it's confusing, what you need to do is actually just to come here, copy this command, and then maybe come here, delete this and put it. So when you start the project, you need to actually give it a particular name of your choice. So in my case, I can start to give it I can start to give it GSG underscore our Django underscore project. Remember, I can start to give it any name of your choice. This name, just a name I start to give it, so it won't collide with some project that already a project that I already have available. So I just give it a random name. So which I just give it this is GFG. We have a whole lot of file that has the Django project on it. So I'm just going to hit enter, and then let's see what is going to happen. You can see we didn't get any error. That signifies that our project was actually being created successfully. So let's go back to our folder where our file is going to live. Let's see, you can see inside of this of our web development. Let me close it. And this is it, web development that we created, which there now it has this kind of folder inside of this folder. When we click on it, we're also going to get some other content inside of it, like this folder. This is our main project that has these files on it, and also that has this managed file on it. So right now I'm going to open my VS Code. I'm going to navigate to this folder entirely. So I'm going to grab that of the project so it will look good on the then I'm going to explain some things on it. So now this is my VS Code. I can come on top here, add folder to workspace. I can open folder directly. So I'm just going to add folder to workplace. So it's going to I'm going to go to that of the desktop. It's on our desktop, which is a web development. So I want to open this project on this. So I'm going to come here, click on that. Do you trust the author of this file? Yes, definitely the author is me. So when we look at this, let me just zoom this a little bit so you can see more. When we look at all this folder we have here, like what we saw earlier, which is this. Let's go back. Let me open it again. Okay, let me go back to my VS Code. So we can see that we have this manage.py, and when we open another folder that has the same name with this of the main folder, we also have get some other content on it. So we're going to look at some of all this. This init.py, this in fact that this is actually a Python file, and this ASJ basically don't do much. And this of the settings.py, you know what settings actually do. This is where most of our configuration lives, and we're also going to actually configure some settings by ourselves, because we're still going to some of the things that we actually install, like that of the cruciform, that of the bootstrap, also going to install each of them. And so this of the URL as of now, don't really have much files inside of this of our URL. Let me zoom this a little bit back. So this of our URL, we have this only one particular pattern of URL. So we're going to dive in more, and we're going to understand how all these URL work. So after that, the next thing we have here is this of the WSG. WSG guy, this function is basically simple. Just is how our Python web application actually communicate with that of our web server. Though as we go on, we're going to understand these guys really much. And then how this manage.py, this with the help of this manage.py, it help us to run a command line command, because the command, some of the command we're using is that of the Django admin. So with the help of this manage.py, we can actually write a whole lot of command line commands with the help of this manage.py. So the first we're going to do is actually to actually run our server, because right now we're not really getting anything that, because for everything to make sense, we need to actually get something that look like, because our main aim is actually to create a website that look like this. But before that, we need to actually get something actually outputted on the screen. So like I said earlier, with this manage the P, we are going to run a lot of command line. So let me zoom this a little bit back for what we see enough for everybody to see. So there are basically many ways to actually run this manage.py. The first is I can also make use of that of the, I can come down here and type that of the CD to actually navigate to this of the manage.py, but this can be a little bit stressful. So one of the simplest way to do this, not the simplest, but I think this is actually easier for beginners to actually understand. It's also come to this of the manage.py. Let me close this. Why is this not closing up a little bit? So I'm going to hit on this play button. This play button is just basically to run a file. If you are still new to VS Code, there's a lot of tutorials out there for you to learn how to make use of this VS Code. So that's not what we'll come to explain much in this video. So when I click on this run button, we are going to get a similar commands, which is that of this Django subcommands that we got here earlier. Some of them, I think that's some of them, that's almost all of them. Like you can see the check or buy messages. So since we click on this, we also get the same thing. So why did we actually click here? The reason is because when we click on when we try to run a particular file in this of the VS Code, what it actually does just to run that particular file, it's going to directly go to that of the file or the file path itself. So now what since we're already in this folder that we are already on, so we're going to make use of another command that Django tends to provide for, which is this run sound. Where is that? That Django details. yeah, we're going to make use of it to actually run our server. So to do this, we're going to come here and say our Python manage. Like I said, I'll manage the py. This manage.py is talking about this manage.py. We're going to do what? Run server. If you are confused about the name itself or the subcommand, what you can do here just to come here, you can just copy it and then just paste it simple as ABCD and hit enter. And then just give it a little bit of time. It's going to provide you with the ports and a whole lot of things that we are going to use. So let's look at some of the things that I got outputted for us. You can see watching for file changes with start reloader, performing system check identifying issue, silence. I have the 18 on apply migration. We're still going to apply some of this migration, and then we have this starting development server at what this can say this, let's say a website or a can say pattern, or I can say a local. This 127.0.0.1 is a local host. When we look at the website that our target is, which is this website, at the beginning, we're able to see the functionality of this website. You can see that I'm running at port 8001. So what this provides us is that it provides us with port 8000. This is actually the default port that Django tend to actually provide us with. But instead that you want to decide a particular port you want to use, you can actually do that, because I'm on this similar web, you can say this tutorial at the background. So I want us to be coming here to actually at least actually refresh on what our next plan, our next thing we are going to do. So that's I'm running. So the current one I'm running is actually run at this of the port 8000. So what you are going to do is just to copy it, or if you don't feel like copying, you can just come here and type HATT, which is actually really stressful, and just copy and paste it. And then once you are going to get a Django and kind of a successful congratulation message. You can see the installed work successfully, congratulations, view release note if you are interested for Django 5. Remember at the beginning what I actually have was for Django 5.2.5. I think this wasn't it. Let's go back up again to the 5.2.5. So each version of Django you have is going to have its own release notes, and how you are seeing this because the bug is set to true. So the situation you might want to actually set this to false, but as of now let's leave it as. So you can see that our website is actually working really well, but this is not good. This is not actually looking like this guy that our plan is. So we need to actually do some motivation, some other things that for it to actually make it to look like this guy that we have here. So the next thing we want to do is actually to set some of the file things we use pip to install out of the cruciform. We need to actually put it in our installed app, which is we are going to go inside of this our settings.py. Let me drag this a little bit down. Okay, let me just show this other guy out. So inside this our setting.py, we're going to add some things to our installed apps. So we're going to go down to where is that installed apps. I say yeah, this is it. So we're going to actually add it to our installed apps. What we're going to do is actually to come down here with we're going to actually add some other apps I've installed, but we'll have two mainly, which is that of bootstraps and that of the cruciform. Then when we create our app itself, we are going to actually also add it to our install app. This is how Django expects us to actually do this. To actually add our data cruciform, we're going to say our cruci underscore what forms. That was actually what we actually installed. We have actually added our cruciforms. So next is actually to add that of the cruci bootstrap. But all these guys were actually what we installed earlier, which was this Django cruciform and this of the cruciform bootstrap. They just copied into the same thing. So let's come here and say cruci bootstrap 4. I think that's it. Make sure that I'm done to put this command. And so with this, we have actually added this of the bootstrap that we have here. No module name, cruci bootstrap. Why do I have this? Hope that's correct. Cruci. So that's supposed to be underscore, not hyphen. So make sure to actually be careful when you are doing some of these guys, because when writing some things here, you have to be underscore, not actually hyphen. So with this, I've actually set the installed app. So the next thing we want to do is actually to create our app, because the way Django actually works, let me just go back. The Django works is this: we're going to create a particular project. When we are done creating a project, then we're going to create what? An app. This our app is where our functions and everything is going to live there, where our function is going to run. Like when we go to this of the website that our target is, like when you click this, maybe this home, or let's click on about, what you actually click is actually function. And now I mean function, just like when you click a particular thing, a command you have set to actually display this kind of output for you. But then if you're still getting it confused, each button here is going to have its own functionality. It's going to have, when you click it, something is going to actually happen. If you have actually done anything relating to that of the app development, this shouldn't be any problem to you. So let's just go back. We're going to actually start our app. To start the app is basically to start our app. So another thing you should know that is a particular project can have multiple apps. Let's think of it for in this way. Let's say you want to create a website that maybe a website that can maybe let's say you created this of the blog website that will have a, let me just say it will be back a blog website. I also want to have maybe a kind of e-commerce website. If those website is going to be contained inside of that, this website is going to be inside of that of the app, and then it's going to, each of them can live inside a particular project. Hope that is not confusing together. Then as we go on, you are going to understand it. So what we are going to do, since we are going to make use of that of the to create an app itself, we're going to make use of the manage.py. You can see that this we have already manage.py. This guy is actually really important. So to do this, we're going to actually stop our server, and then we're going to which to stop our server, I just actually control C. Just control, which is CTRL. Just CTRL and then click on C to do this. So we're going to type our Python what manage dot py. We're going to say we'll start, then that start app also. If you are still confusing, just make sure to go back to this. So let me just scroll down, go up, go up, go up. I think that's basically startup. This was it, startup. So we're going to copy this. So in case you are still confusing, you can just basically copy it and then just this must be a little bit of space here. Paste it. And when you create, when you want to start, when you want to create a particular, I must have a name for particular. So it can be of any name of your choice. So I can call it a what blog underscore what page, because what I actually doing is actually a blog website. So and when you create this app itself, you can't just come and wake up and come and right click to actually rename the folder. No, it doesn't work like that, because a whole lot of configuration has actually been added to this. So actually, for you to actually do this, but you have to actually do some other configuration for you to actually get it working. So since what we actually did, we'll make use of this manage.py. They can help us run command line command. Make use of this one of the Django subcommand that we can actually help to create, which is actually name startup, and then what app would want to create, which is actually a blog page. You can try to give it any name of your choice, but the only thing is if you give it a name that actually makes sense to what you actually did. So what you have done, just to hit enter, and then let's see whether I'm going to get any error. Let's just give it a little bit of time. Okay, I think I can see some things guys already popping up here. I can see everything around successfully without any problem. And then we can get to this kind of folder, which is this blog page. Remember that we gave it blog page here, and we get this blog page here. So let me close this guy. Now we have a whole lot of guys here. Now, so when we run that our server, we'll start to get this can see kind of this SQLite. This is actually for our database. This is where our database commands are going, our database files are going to live. Meanwhile, SQL is mainly used for testing purposes, for production. Can make use of that or the progress, but SQL can also be used for production. But most times this progress is mainly be used for. But as we go, we're going to, when we want to, you can say host this website, and as we go on this tutorial, we're going to make use of SQL and that of the progress for us to actually see examples of these two guys. So when we look at this app that we created, when we look at, which is actually called blog page, this is actually talking about migration. The first folder that's inside of this big guys folder, which is actually this migration. We have this init file. We're not going to look at it much. This init file just imply this is a Python file. Or the second on the list is this of the admin. This is where we're going to register our models. When we start creating models, don't get scared. This model is just the way we're going to map our information. So it's basically the way we start writing our model, this model is actually going to be the way information is going to be stored on our database. They are just basically So this admin place of a guys who are going to actually register a model. And the main reason to register this model, when we go to our admin panel, as we go, we're definitely going to see all these guys that I'm talking about. Our admin panel. Well, if you don't register a model, it's not going to show on your admin panel or your admin website, because let's just see example of what I mean. This is our newly working server. So I can go to /admin. Right now, we're still going to get okay. Why did I get that error? Okay, our server is now running, but I was still going to. Okay, let me just show example one server so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, our server is up and running. Let me reload this. You can see admin, administration, username, password. As of now, nothing. We don't have any account that we can use to log in. But we can with this when we create an account that we can use to log into this of our admin. I can say Django administration site. Then we can actually see that if we don't use some model that we're going to write, because I'm basically going to write 2 models in this of our Django project. So some of the model, if you don't actually register it, it's not going to appear. But don't worry, I was also going to understand this. Let's just look at some of them. These of the apps we're not going to actually touch any of it. We have the name and then default auto field, which is a big auto field guy. This big auto field guy just trying to tell us that we're going to get more input, but we're still going to get to that. And this model, this is what we're going to create our model. This guy really important. This text.py, we're not going to really look much of it. And this video.py, this guy, this is where our main functions, our main guys is going to live inside it. This is where we're going to bombard with a whole lot of scripts. It's going to be a million these views and this of the model, and we're going to actually create our own some files that we're going to make use of. Those files is not a must, you must create them, but with this we can actually start to create the website that actually look at this website that we want to actually create that will look like this on the final let's say on the final work or the final project that we're doing. So with this is our app, this is review, this is our app, this is our project itself. So we can actually create multiple apps depending on what the apps are actually doing. That's your trouble. In our case, we're actually working on one particular app. So remember that we have created the app. We need to actually register this app, because we also need to actually add it to our installed app. So when we go to our settings, which is this, so we can open this folder that has the same name with our project. This is our project, can see main project configurations here. Go to the settings, we'll have this installed. Go to this of the installed app. These are the 2 apps that we added earlier. So we're going to come here and see what we want to actually add that this of the app that we created, which is our blog underscore what page. That's the name. Then we're going to say dot what apps dot what blog page, that is config, blog page config. I think that's it. This is our blog page dot apps. Make sure this spelling is correct. Dot apps and then blog page without any underscore config. We can actually see this when we go to our blog page. You go to the apps, you can see that okay, yeah, you can just copy this blog page config. If you are still getting this config blog page config, but remember that this must be the name of the app dot apps, and then you can put the blog page. In case if you don't know, if you are confused, just copy paste it. In case if you have multiple apps, let's say you have something like you can say e-commerce, e-commerce. For example, if I spell that e-commerce page, let's say a app that has this name e-commerce page. So you're going to be e-commerce page. Here is going to be e-commerce, e in capital letter config. So if you are still confused, it's going to appear in this of the apps.py. So you are just going to copy it and paste it. So let me just change this so don't mess everything up. So with this, we have actually added a whole lot of things. So the last thing we're going to add is actually to tell our Django that when you're arranging our bootstrap function or bootstrap template, we need to actually to be in that of bootstrap 4. Now station to do this is basically simple. Scroll down, you can start to write it anywhere of your choice. So you can come here and see our, this is going to be capital letter, going to be cripc underscore what, template underscore what, pack. Then we're going to tell you that it's going to be bootstrap 4. In your case, if you have bootstrap 5 and make use of bootstrap 4, bootstrap 5, you can just set it to bootstrap 5 here, but my case is bootstrap 4. So the reason for us to setting this to adding this cripc template, this is that Python Django actually expects us to actually, because some of the commands is actually Django method of expecting us to actually put some command. In case if you don't feel like adding some of all these commands, there are still basically work around for this, which can be a little bit headache, can give a little bit of headache. So in this video, we're actually able to cover a whole lot of things, like creating projects, creating a whole lot of things, installing and downloading a whole lot of libraries that we're going to make use of, not just libraries, things that we can use to actually achieve this looking website. So if there's anything that will cover there, they are still getting confused, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Only what I can know that will be confused a little bit is these apps that we install. This is how Django expects us to actually do this. When you create an app, you must actually put it in your installed apps. This Ezee make use of this cripc form, you need to actually add it. And then since you want to actually let Django know that when you start writing I'm making use of this of the bootstrap, because we're going to make use of a whole lot of bootstraps and classes to actually make this in our website look like. This is not actually a must. You must make use of bootstrap in the first place. So it's not actually a must. If you are good in CSS, maybe HTML, and maybe any other styling, you can say language you know of, you can make use of it without actually needing use of this bootstrap. Just that bootstrap tend to make things a little bit easier and nicer to actually make use of. Remember, it's not a must, you must use bootstrap. Remember, it's not a must, you must use this cripc form of it, guys. Only what is important is this guy. When you create your project, make sure to actually install it. So when you create your apps, make sure to actually put in your stored apps. If you must use this cripc form. Just the website I did was just a basic website that look like this. So I think I made use of that of the bootstrap. So, and some of all these things that I wrote here, I didn't even make use of bootstrap to actually achieve any of the only few I was able to, like this guys that is on top, I made use of bootstrap to actually achieve some of them. So I think this was enough for us, a whole lot of things for us to digest. If you're still getting a copy, make sure to wrap your head around it, and maybe you can watch the video so for you to get it fully understandable on your head. So the next video, what we're basically going to do is actually to start ranging information on our website to actually start understanding what is actually happening to achieve this. Because in our current situation, this is where we are. We're not even scratched the surface. So let's head on to that of the next chapter of this video.